someone gets Spider-Man out of his mouth. Hey. Somebody's there.
Yeah. Hi. Well, we weren't doing nothing. No, mister. We weren't doing nothing in your barn. We're having a drink. Yeah, this is a drink with Mink. Nothing weird is going on here.
Ain't no
with
attention.
stuff. Yeah, it's alcohol. It's adult stuff. Yeah, we're talking adult stuff and toys. I'm your host, Jason Mink. Mike Jones has joined me here.
Again?
So what's on the docket today, Michael?
Well, I think since we're old guys, one of the first things that I've learned, when you hit 40, your corneas, your something hardens, and you get what's called presbyopia.
Yeah.
Hardening of the lenses.
Right.
And so it's hard to see up close. So those days of reading those little comic books or even any kind of books or newspapers up close goes away.
Yeah, that's so
what
true.
replaces it? I mean, if you hold it far enough away, you can see it, but
Right.
my arms aren't long enough sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I
let's
can't
get
see
bigger
it now,
books.
to be honest with you.
Why not have bigger comic books for old guys?
You'd think.
Easier to read.
I mean, you think
Books
that
that are
Marvel
like
and
maybe
DC would have...
That big.
Wow! Who
That
came up
awesome.
with such a crazy idea?
It's a new invention that we have here at Old Guys.
Right, that's
really
fantastic.
big books and with really big lettering in them. Look at that.
Bad eyes.
I can
Wow.
even read that. What's that say?
That says Major Bigsby and Bots. Because God knows, when you think Batman #1, you think Major Bigsby and Bots.
He was in there.
Yeah, he sure was. Commissioner Gordon wouldn't have gotten anywhere in the GCPD without Bigsby and Bots.
The great thing about the Treasury Editions, and a lot of them, especially when DC did theirs,
Right.
is they put it all in there.
Yeah, they
Ads,
sure did.
everything else. And
Right,
they
the
just
Bigsby and the
reproduced
Bots. And,
Batman #1
Right.
as it was, and right down to the actual cover, which is just phenomenal.
Now, wouldn't it be easy enough for some unscrupulous sort of person in the 1970s to just remove this cardboard cover and sell this as the original Batman comic? I mean, God knows, it sure looks like the real thing.
It's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I know, but who's
Those who
going to
don't
know
know.
that? I mean, you know,
That actually
you're
happens.
selling it to old people. Everything is bigger to them.
That is a great little picture of Batman right there.
Or a great big
But
picture of
anyways,
Batman.
we're going to talk a little bit about the Treasury Editions, and
Yeah.
Jason has a great collection of them. I'm amazed at what he has.
Hey, thanks. I paid $1 for this.
And that's the way it should be.
It cost
And
$1 in the store.
so
Hey! What's going on?
Uh-oh. So we got a guest. Hold on a minute. Make
Hey.
room for the
All
guest.
right. No.
Hey, no, we're not doing a show or anything.
Yeah. Okay, wait. New Orleans was supposed to be a one-off, right? I mean,
It was,
Hey, guys.
it was for sure.
It's good to see Dennis got
What are you
himself a
gonna do?
drink, too.
You're tall.
yeah, a little
You're
bit.
the tallest one.
no, Mike's the tallest one.
Mike is the tallest one, but he's on the
The
shortest
shortest
chair.
chair,
Right,
right.
exactly. All right.
I'm
You're
the new
doing
guy.
a great job, Mike.
I'm the new guy. Well, we were just talking about-
I'm just protecting
What do
my
you know
place
about
at the table.
What do you
That's
know
what
about
you should.
Treasury?
I know when I was a kid, these were the ones I liked more, to be honest with you, because like you said, small print, and my eyes have not always been the best. And these reminded me of the coloring books. I don't know if you remember the big
yeah.
coloring books that you could get, but my mother would get me those, and I would sit there for hours and coloring them. My brother didn't like when I tried to color his Treasury, but that's what I remember about these.
It's already done.
These are, it is already done. And
But they left that great big white space. How can you resist that?
So the Mighty Avengers, which you get a little piece of the Black Panther
Oh yeah.
with the half mask looking deal going on there.
I love this, and now guys might scream at that this is Kirby. It looks
Yes.
like Kirby art on the front. I'm not the best at that, folks. I'm learning.
Oh, you're doing fine.
But the Kirby Thor, just for me, sets that cover off, and it's like the anchor for all the other characters.
Right
around.
on, right on.
And it's tremendous.
This is fantastic because as a kid, my dad had a charge card for Sears.
Oh yeah.
And that's how we got all our stuff, baby. Now, my brother knows we were dressed thanks to Sears and Roebuck's.
Oh, yeah. And
we
Hills,
wore the
yeah.
finest, yes, exactly. Hills to a lesser extent.
Right,
but as far as that goes, the Sears charge card went a long way in our lives, and it went a long way in the lives of Americans in general.
Did you have to steal it to get the comic books? Or your
No,
dad
no,
used it?
actually-
No, he would actually buy us stuff like
Wow.
this.
Yeah, every once in a while. The thing is, this was in a special section of Sears. It was just sort of off in the corner, and it was, I just was obsessed with Star Wars at the time, and I said, and it just happens to collect.
What does it say the price is? $2.
$2.
$2,
Right,
right?
Going up in
Exactly.
price here.
What'd you get it for? $1.
Well, I got it for $1 from Ides, but at the time, you know, it was the $2. That was a lot of money to pay for
was.
the thing at Sears.
But
But
look at
you
it.
got all 6 episodes,
Right.
and it is a phenomenal piece of work. As far as the Treasury Edition goes, you could do much, much worse than something like this because the artwork is beautiful, the story is memorable, and it's just a trip down memory lane.
We got this, and we also got the Peter Pan 45 Star Wars. It was a little Peter Pan 45.
I remember
If you can
that,
find
yes,
that, maybe
yes.
we'll show that on the screen. And I want to say hi to our friend OG Dave Edwards. You know, Star Wars, always have to, you know, say hi to Dave.
We know Dave from the.
You got a chink.
I did.
We know Dave from the New Orleans video.
The Dave from the New Orleans video,
forget
as
that
well
video.
as many memorable things. Earlier we did a True Believers Star Wars, and you showed the cover for Star Wars 107.
The worst?
Right, exactly, the absolute worst. But the thing is, my buddy Dave Edwards lent me all of his Star Wars comic books. I hadn't read the run. I'd read a couple books here and there, and he was like, "What do you mean
Are you
you've never
talking
read
1
them?"
through 107?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He lent
And
me
he let you
1
to
through
put your greasy,
107.
grubby-
My greasy, my horrible
finger
liquor
fingers.
soaked chicken finger. My chicken fingers? Yeah, my chicken
Good
fingers.
You read
right,
them with care.
Yeah, exactly. No, I read them with care, and I thought they were phenomenal, and it was a tremendous experience. And to be able to go back and read them now in the Treasury Edition is a true experience, because as an old guy, once again, to be able to see this stuff as it was drawn, you know, these comics weren't drawn the size that we see them traditionally. Comics were drawn in a 2-up, which is much closer, if not this.
11 by 17.
Yeah,
nowadays,
yeah,
but
yeah,
so,
right.
I mean, they just pumped out Spider-Man after Spider-Man on the Treasuries. This one I remember because I drew that thing a million times. That's probably how I learned how to draw Spider-Man's face right there.
Well, it paid off.
So they just pumped them out, and they're all great. They just reprint everything.
Well, as far as it goes, after the Sinister Six, who is your favorite Spider-Man villain post-Sinister Six? We're talking Kangaroo, we're talking Prowler. Let's talk Goofy Spider-Man.
Jackal, then the
Right, exactly.
Punisher.
Who's
came
your
in.
favorite? Right, exactly. I don't know that we can count Punisher.
You had the dude with the afro and the roller skates.
Oh.
Who was that dude? I mean,
I'm embarrassed to admit that I can't remember the name of the guy with the afro on the
roller skates. That was
skateboard.
guy.
Right, exactly.
Who's the guy
Skater
with the
dude or
afro
something.
on the skates? We want to know.
I've got the issue.
My mind is screaming Hypno Hustler, but I know that's a different guy with an afro.
I can see it because there's like a big wheel behind him or something. That's
Right,
a Ferris wheel or something
exactly.
that's
Well, that was
everybody.
Big Wheel was the bad guy. He was just
Was he
like an
Big Wheel?
industrialist. Yeah, he was a loser industrialist who built a big wheel to run over people.
No, this is a poignant.
Yeah, and moving along because we're saving the best for last. 'Cause
We are.
The Treasuries. I never owned this. I have not seen this until I walked into his house the other day.
Really?
Saw it
Holy
laying
cow.
there. I've always wanted it.
Right on.
And I can get it on eBay for,
Yeah,
$700, something like that, maybe. Because it's got to be CGC
eBay
9.8 or
Oh yeah, you want it
Yeah.
sealed in a plastic
But,
casket so you can't see what
got
it is.
so much stuff in it. This had to be when Kirby got back to Marvel.
Yes, oh yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
And drew stuff in here that wasn't a reprint. Original.
And this is 1976, is the year I was born. I've always had a fondness for this comic. And I mean, look at the cover.
It's just so Kirby and so America.
You can't do more than that.
Perfect for the 4th of July.
Right on.
And then we get down to, this is the first one I ever purchased,
Oh, right.
and it's
Right on.
number 2, right? And it's Fantastic Four, and it's just as good as it gets. I mean, look at that on the back, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of Kirby in this. On the cover, you get inside, a lot of,
Kirby Mania, baby.
there's some Kirby in there, but
All the
it's a
way.
real good mix. I mean, just crazy stuff that's in there, but it was a really good. I mean, it's another beat up Spider-Man where you've got everything you need on it.
It doesn't get any better than
No,
that.
it doesn't
like
get
you
any
said,
better
the
than that.
webbing and the pose. This is Spider-Man personified.
If you didn't draw that as a kid, okay, you never wanted to be an artist at Marvel.
Right.
I drew that a million times too.
Right.
And it never, ever looked like that. But it was close.
But it
So-
looked like yours.
But that's number 1. And then I think, in my opinion, and I kind of put these in order.
No, I agree with you on this one.
And he did, I agree.
This is like, I mean,
The back is
you can't, I don't know if you can even purchase this anymore,
No.
especially in this condition. For a Jason Mink, this is in really nice shape.
it is yeah.
He's a beater reader kind of guy. I mean, look at this.
Ouch.
Wait, I'm trying to say, look at this. Hold this up, Dennis.
Okay.
And then look at this.
he did.
I mean, this is Kirby at his best.
Oh yeah, and
It's
the
just-
back. I mean, look.
I
at
kind of wish he would have inked his own. He's got different inkers on here, but
Yeah.
if he would have inked his own, it probably would have been better. But that's just. You want to say anything about that? Because it's not my
Right.
opinion. Stan made a story
The
of it.
funny
Right.
thing for me is this particular image, it wasn't this that Marvel featured in the trade ads a lot of the times. It was this particular image, which
Right.
I thought was really compelling because you have the astronaut, you have, the primitives down here. There's a whole lot of activity going on, and it's just like, this is Kirby unleashed, ultimately. It's just like, when it comes down to it, the Treasury Editions are really your best way of experiencing a lot of these stories, because whether they were drawn specifically for that format or not, the larger scale and blown up specifically for that style of enjoyment, you'd really be hard pressed to go wrong. Don't be a sucker. Don't pay $40 a piece
No.
for them. You can find
Well, look,
books
if
in
you wanna
these
pay
nice
that,
shape.
you don't call them a sucker. You want to pay that, you
No,
pay that.
but
But I mean,
you're-
Don't be a sucker. Buy yourself a nice reader copy. Now, I'm not saying you want this. This obviously went
Good
through
reader.
someone's washing
Good reader.
machine. But see, for me, sometimes I read comics in the washing machine. Old paper is your best comics value, and that's my final word. I'm Jason Mink.
I'm Dennis Miller.
That's Tim Conway. I'm Harvey Cornick.
And I'm Carol Burnett.